Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Sage 40. I'm your host, Chantel. How are we doing, guys? Happy Thursday. It is the great lock-in season, okay? If you are chronically online like I am, you are well aware of the great lock-in, and it has begun, you guys. We have officially entered the great lock-in. I know that for some people, they said it starts in September, but I disagree. I think September is just summer with a little bit of homework. If you're in Europe, it's definitely still summer because we are all dicking away, like I said in the last pod, and getting our last bit of summer sun. October is really when we lock the fuck in. That is when spooky season, autumn, scary season, whatever you want to call it, that is like real life. Fall foliage, all of the things, right? The air is a bit cooler. The energy is a bit sharper. We're all thoroughly back into the groove now. Everyone feels like they're back in the city, especially as I'm someone who likes to go out a lot with events. I feel like the events in September kind of die down and they really ramp up in October. For those of you in the UK, or for those of you that don't know, October is Black History Month in the UK. So I just feel like October is like just where it's at. It is the true beginning. It is the beginning of Q4. This is our last quarter in 2025, guys. This is the great lock-in. I know that you believe me and I know that you hear me. And I'm sorry to drop the C word so early, but Christmas is less than 100 days away. I know. Sounds crazy, sounds insane. You're like, girl, I still have my summer tan. I know, but that is what we're talking about, not only today, but all month. This is the great autumn energy. I want to get you guys moving and grooving for Q4 in such a strong way. And I want to talk about the energy that autumn can harness all month long. Like, I purposely waited to do this series for October because even though everyone gives like their back to school, their lock-in, whatever type of content, first thing after Labor Day, which is basically first Tuesday in September, I wanted to wait because we all kind of collectively need to be in the groove. And some of us kind of take our time to get into it. You know, it's just like after New Year, it's like some people are ready bang on the dollar New Year's Day. But the rest of us, if we're like me, I am moving, grooving, and partying well into Aquarius season. Like, catch me in Feb. I feel like it really starts in Feb. And if we're being honest, it really starts in March. But anyways, I digress. Side note, I went to the hairdressers today and I saw a lovely listener, which was so crazy. I always think it's weird when I see people in real life. Because when you create content, it's very easy to assume that you are just like sitting in a black hole by yourself. So it's always interesting to remember that people listen, they read, they watch, they like, they comment. So you know who you are. It was so nice to meet you. And I'm working on the event. I feel like I've gotten a few cosmic signs recently, and I was like, I need to plan something for the Sage Girlies in London. So that is coming. It is coming. I'll just kind of need to get over myself and do it, but it is coming, I promise. This is a season to lock in, guys. Not in like a boring, shut yourself off from the world way, but in a way to really sense like your focus, your intimacy, your own renewal, your own shedding. You do not have to wait for January 1st to get yourself together. We are doing it today. We are doing it now. Summer was slow, sexy reset. And autumn is all about intention. So let's go. Basically, I want this episode to serve as an introduction for you to look at autumn significantly differently. I want you to think about how the culture treats autumn. Obviously, we have like fashion Olympics, right? Like fashion weeks are in September. They're also in February. September issue of Vogue is obviously like the thing. Even streaming services, like the best shows drop in autumn. If you think about like Succession, The Crown, things like that. Autumn is when people actually stay in their house, they watch, they talk, they're invested. They are locking in, for lack of a better term. Obviously, we're also marketed like pumpkin spice, everything, cozy girl autumn. But I really believe that autumn can be a strategy season if you let it and if you don't let it pass you by. I think it's when we collectively tighten things up and we kind of have a reset. But I do feel like because autumn is so short, I feel like autumn blurs into winter very quickly, that sometimes people can really take their foot off the gas until the new year. And it's like, we don't have to wait until that time. Socially, financially, and emotionally, we want to nest, but it's also a really good time to build. And yes, this is a little bit of romanticization. That's not a word, but I don't care. Because I really do want you guys to be appreciating each season as it comes for what it is and what it can be for you. We are not doing autopilot. We are not glazing over. The days are long, but the years are short, and so are the seasons. So ask yourself, are you enjoying the autumn sun? Have you been mood boarding? Are you daydreaming about what the last quarter can look like, can feel like, what you want to accomplish? Because you absolutely should be. Socially, obviously, this is when things shift. Obviously, summer is crazy rooftops and chaos and drunken nights. And for me, my fitness goals go right out the window. Like, there is nothing harder for me than sticking to Pilates and SoulCycle regularly in the summer. But now that the cooler weather is here, I am locked in. I mean, I did miss my 6:30 a.m. class this morning, but again, forgive me, 6:30 a.m. was a lot. And it's like 40 minutes from my house. But normally I'm very locked in because I just feel like once the summer is over, it's far easier for me to get into a routine. I don't know if anyone else is like that, but if you are, please DM me because we can commiserate together. I feel like this is a really good time for you to get outside. It's weird because as soon as the temperature drops, people are like, oh, that's it for me. Like, not going outside. It's too cold. And it's like, babe, cold hasn't even started yet. Like, the few odd days we've had, like, cold has not even started yet. Like, we have to resist the idea of automatically being lazy just because there's less sun or there's no sun. We can't do that. I want your October to look like events, dinner parties, going to art galleries, having wine. Like, cozy season has begun. For me, I always say, like, this is red wine season. As soon as the temperature drops, I'm like, ooh, where's the Beaujolais? Where's the Malbec? Where's the Barolo? Where's the Brunello? Like, it's red wine season. I want you to sip, savor, enjoy. Walks with a friend after work. Again, if it's dry outside, get your steps in. I don't want to hear anything about temperature. There's no such thing as a bad temperature. It's just bad gear. Get your steps in. Even your dating should look a little different. Cuffing season hasn't officially started, as they say, but I do think it's deeper than that. Again, savor, sip, enjoy. Autumn gives us permission to take things seriously again. And if you are an earth sign or have heavy earth sign placements, I know that this sings to your soul because it sings to my soul. Like, I can do a little bit of summer being frivolous, off the wall, carefree, blah, blah, blah. But I love to lock in. I love being serious. And I know for a fact that I have women listening to this pod right now that are like, yes, me too. Thank God we have free reign to be serious again. Also, in your friendships, this is time to go quality over quantity. We are not hanging out with our 20 besties all throughout the summer because we just need to catch up. This is about sip, savoring, and quality relationships. Fewer faces, but deeper conversations, choosing intentionally, you know the vibes. I also want to touch on work and also like creative energy. And I want to make sure that I'm talking to my corporate girls, like my real corporate girlies that are clocking in 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, my commuter babes. September 30th was International Podcast Day, and I made a video on TikTok and on Instagram, just having a public declaration of how grateful I am for the pod and everyone who listens and shares and DMs and all the kind words I've received since February when it started. And one thing I said was that I think of my commuter girlies every time I sit down to listen to a pod. Every time I sit down to record, I think of my commuter girlies and I want to provide value. And I think of them being on the tube or in their car, and also my girlies who are on the treadmill listening to the pods. So I want to talk about things that you can do and ways to expand your thinking when it comes to fall for my worker bees and also like my freelancer creative girlies as well. Obviously, it's a new month. It's a new quarter. If you work in corporate, you know that Q4 is like where a lot of companies' strategy lives. It's the busiest time. It's the moneymaker. When I worked in sales, like, you want to talk about lock in. TikTok has this new locked in little trend. Anyone who works in sales, you know that Q4 is extreme lock in. And we have been locking the fuck in since before it was cool, since before TikTok even existed. Q4 is huge for sales. Not all sales, but I would say the majority of salespeople, this is the time where, one, they tend to make the most money. And two, if you haven't been able to hit your numbers all year, this is the point where you haul ass so you don't end the year basically on a low note. Targets, priorities, budgets. If you're creative, this is when a lot of campaigns roll out. I know for content creators, October, November is literally the busiest time. I would say September, October, November is actually the busiest time. December is actually quite slow. You're usually just posting things or wrapping up campaigns, wrapping up invoices. before the new year hits. But September, October, November is when a lot of content creators as well make the most money because there's so much going on. Obviously, holiday, back to school, the whole thing. And if you're creative, you know that this speaks to you. Campaigns roll out, projects drop, exhibitions open. Autumn is when people are really back online, like in a consistent way. I know for London gets pretty quiet like August and I would say early September. But as soon as fall hits, everyone is back. The restaurants are busy, bars are busy, members clubs are full. Everyone's out about networking, working, paying attention. So whether you're in corporate or you're building something of your own, I just want you guys to think of this time to put yourself out there. Send the pitch, share the portfolio, book the coffee, launch the Substack, create the TikTok video. I sat with my hairstylist today for about 20-ish minutes and she was like, can I pick your brain on TikTok? I was like, anything you want to know, I will tell you. And yes, I think you should do it before you ask any questions. Like, I'm all here for it. And I want you guys to feel encouraged and supported as well, regardless of what your thing may be. Start the thing that you've been yapping about all year. Nothing is more annoying than a woman who talks about a lot of things and does nothing. And honestly, a huge push for me with starting the podcast, which I've probably mentioned before, was I don't want to be someone who talks about ideas and that's it and never launches. Like, it's really annoying to hear that. And it's also really annoying to say those things all the time. It's also a very unattractive quality. I think of the man who's at the bar on the very last stool talking to the bartender about when he was so cool in middle school or high school or college. It's like no one gives a fuck. Like, what are you doing now? What are the things you want to do now? Your life is now. Your life is today. You'll never be younger than you are right now. Get to it. And I don't want to be that person. And I have a lot of ideas. So I'm being hard on myself. And in low key, some ways I am. Obviously, you can't launch everything. But I don't want to be that person. I want to have ideas and I want to execute those fucking ideas. And I'm encouraging you to do the same. Everyone else is in build mode. So you're not alone here. You might as well join the crowd. The energy is so aligned and potent for you to start something or pick up something that you've dropped off. And also, if you're looking for new connections, again, you guys know I'm going to tell you to seek it out. Bumble BFF, we talk about this a lot. Eventbrite, Luma, fabulous way to find out what's going on in your city and to connect with new people, new industries. Just get out there. I know for London, like West End is booming in the fall. I booked Othello to go see myself because David Harewood is in it. David Harewood. I don't know if I'm saying that right or wrong. He's British, but if you guys watched Homeland, which I did, at least the first few seasons, then it got kind of weird. But you know what? I think I'm going to start it again like I did Scandal, and I'm going to see it all the way through because I actually thought that was a really good show. If anyone else watched Homeland out there, just message me because I feel like that was a really good show. And then it got weird like a lot of shows do, and that's kind of when I taper off. But you know what? That's what I'm going to do. That's going to be my October watch is I'm going to start Homeland again. Even though it got weird, I do think Claire Danes in Homeland is absolutely fantastic. She is so good. But anyways, he was CIA counterterrorism director David S., if anyone remembers, basically the black guy in Homeland, if you don't have a visual. But he is in a rendition of Othello, and Othello is a story that I know about, obviously Shakespeare, but I've never actually seen it IRL, and I never read the book. So I'm really excited. And I just saw it on the Tube. The Tube has the best West End advertisements, by the way. And I was like, no, I'm going to go see that. Went online, booked the ticket. And then my friend messaged me the other day and said that she wants to go see another show. And I'm like, yes, we should go. I'm telling you guys, book the tickets, get out there. Even Airbnb Experiences, I've never done this. And I know that it's something people think of when they're on vacation, but just go online and do an Airbnb experience in your own city. Boom. Try a wine tasting. I went to a champagne tasting end of August. Absolutely fantastic. I cannot wait to go to another one. Supper club, a photography walk in your city, or even a photography gallery. Sometimes those are less intimidating than like maybe art galleries or museums. And I just find photo exhibitions to be so fascinating. I haven't gone to one in many months, but the last one I went to is the Photographer's Gallery. It's just off of Tottenham Court Road. And I don't know if I told you guys, I wonder if I had the pod back then. Maybe I did. I think I did mention it. It was basically Sicily in the 80s, and it was capturing like mob life, basically, like the good and the bad of it, like people dying, dead people in the street. And crime photography has changed a lot. Like that's not really a thing anymore. Like I remember being a kid and like opening up the paper and you would see like maybe like a dead person like covered or whatever. And like, that's not really a thing anymore. And I understand why it's not a thing, because I do think it's an invasion of privacy and it's kind of like a little bit of bastardization of someone in like their lowest moment. But obviously in the 80s, crime photography was a thing, and that's how we knew people had died. That's how we saw. And that exhibition was so good. And it's nice to just kind of move about those kind of exhibitions at your own pace. Highly recommend a photography walk or a photography gallery, museum, if you have one in your city. What you can also do in your city is like, if you have a lot of murals, I find that tour guides, if you go on Viator or again, Airbnb Experiences, you can usually find a mural experience in your city. I did that when I went on a media trip with Visit Philly, which is Philly's tourism board. And Philadelphia has amazing murals, and we went on kind of like a guide. They have so many. There was not enough time to see them all, but it was fantastic and I loved it. These are really low stakes ways of meeting new people who are also curious, interesting, and want to do and see new things like you do. Networking in autumn just hits different. I really believe that. People are not as scattered, like both in their mindset and in their schedule. And especially if you're in Europe, it's not like we meet today and then it's like, okay, I'm dicking off to Mykonos and then Ibiza and then the south of France. So I'm not going to be here for another 6 weeks. People are rooted, they're planted, they're here, and they're available. Summer is super scattered, right? Everyone's half online, on a plane, hungover. And then you have December, which is absolute madness. It's chaos. Nothing gets done. Everyone knows that like people don't even really work after like December 10th. No one's paying attention. Everyone is literally future faking and future planning because you're just waiting for Christmas, for New Year's, for January. You're like, this is a 2026 thing, not a 2025 thing. So this right here, this little wedge of sweet time of October and November is when people are actually focused, awake, and willing. Everyone is back in their cities, back at their desks, checking their inboxes and looking for what's next and what they need to get done before 2026. For my corporate girlies, a project, a pitch, an idea you want to test, now is the time. You want to set yourself up for a raise. You want to set yourself up for a good bonus. Now is the time. This is when you need to make waves. I want you to sit down, all my corporate girlies, I want you to sit down and put in your doc apps, put in your Word, iPhone, emails to yourself, whatever, all the wins you've had this year. You need to have this ready and ready to go. And it's a good time to kind of reflect on the year. Quite a lot has happened, but it's really, really good now to see what are the wins that I've had this year. How have I contributed to the work at large in a meaningful and genuine way? Have I had any really standout moments? And maybe they weren't my moments, but have I supported on standout moments? Not everyone can be Michael Jordan. Sometimes you do need to have Scottie Pippen. That's as far a basketball reference as you'll ever get from me, guys. But if you know, which basically means not everyone is going to be a number one. Sometimes you're going to be a number two, but that doesn't mean number two doesn't have value, because number two is often supporting number one, and a number one always needs a number two. You get me? You get me. Also, if you're in corporate, this is when next year's budgets are getting done. Everyone knows, well, maybe not everyone knows, but a common thing in corporate is that if you don't use it, you lose it. As in, make sure you guys are spending your money. If you have an expense account, spend it, because they're just going to look at the numbers next year and be like, oh, she didn't really use much of her Uber this year and we gave her £1,000. Let's just cut it down to 500 and allocate that to someone else. So remember, hit your budget, spend that money. It is literally the moment to make yourself known, speak up in the meetings, volunteer for the project, ask to be included in the strategy. Your leadership is really sharp in autumn because everyone is watching so much more closely. I want you guys to give this season everything you have. If you're on the creative or entrepreneurial side, obviously we've talked about sharing your work. Get that pod up there, book the panel, join maybe a class. We talked about joining creative skills. We talked about that a lot over the last few pods. You want to be in motion. Like if you're like, I don't know what to do, I don't know where I'm going, I don't even know what to do first, get in motion. I've talked about this. Motion builds momentum. You need momentum before you can get clarity. You don't get clarity and then you start going. You need to keep going, and each step creates the next one. I hope that makes sense and I'm not rambling. I don't want us to waste autumn on let's just wait until January, or I'll just wait till Christmas, or I'll just do it. No. January is also like the worst month to be like bold and fresh and have that really high energy because everyone's broke. Everyone's freezing and everyone is so tired because their Christmas break was not long enough. Autumn is the window, guys. It's a short window, but it's a juicy one. It's one where you can get ahead and you can plant the seed before the year closes and when everyone else is fucking off. So ask yourself this: What would it look like if you stopped waiting, you didn't wait for the new year, but if you actually got comfortable with the idea of being visible this season and you went full throttle? What if you put yourself out there? What would you put out there if you knew people wanted to see it and if you knew it would be positively received? What would you put out there? Think about that. Okay, so I'm going to end the episode with a book. I'm actually reading one nonfiction at the moment and one fiction. My nonfiction is 4,000 Weeks by Oliver Burkeman, and the book is about being intentional with your time. It's a little existential, a little bit philosophical, but it sounds like it's a productivity book, but it's not. It's really about not being productive for productivity's sake and how when we add more things to the to-do list, less things get done. It's a really good book, and I want to read books now that really expand my thinking because I want to make sure that I'm giving you guys the best of what I can give on the pod. And I know that so much of that is what I bring to the table and what I talk about. And I want to make sure that I'm expanding my mind in ways that make sense. I'm also trying to spend less time on my phone. So reading is a really easy way for me to spend less time on my phone. But I want to mention some things. First of all, so far it's a good book, but there are a few things in there that he mentions that I just want to touch on for you guys. And if you guys are interested, you know where to get the book. It's called 4,000 Weeks by Oliver Burkeman. And he says, the average human lifespan is absurdly, terrifyingly, insultingly short. And it's true, right? Like, there is never enough time. Like, you will hear the odd person who's like, oh, I'm ready to go now. Just like roll me in the dirt or whatever. But that is a very rare perspective. And I would argue it's probably not a genuine perspective. There's just never enough time. And because there's never enough time, time is so important in our lives. And it's the only thing we can't buy more of, you know? Autumn is the season that reminds us of that truth like any other. There's nothing like waking up on October 1st and being like, oh my God, the year's almost done. Oh my God, Christmas is around the corner. For me, oh my God, my birthday's around the corner, another year. And then boom, we're in January 1st and then it's another year. Like nothing brings me an existential crisis like autumn and then also my birthday, but we'll talk about that closer to my birthday. The year is closing and we feel it. And what I want you guys to feel is inspired. I want to go for the gold. I've been running this race all year. I've been doing this 400 meters and it's my last 100 meters and I don't want to coast. I want to really like blaze through. I hope that makes sense. I know that I've got a lot of thoughts, but I'm just trying to share them with you because I want you guys to feel encouraged, supported, and excited. Another line that he says is the real measure of any time management technique is whether it helps you neglect the right things. And that is what I think autumn is about. It is about editing and it is about trimming down because the summer can be so wide net-ish, if that makes sense. Now that the noise of summer is done, the distractions and a lot of surface level things, this is about choosing the things that actually deserve your energy. The days are shorter. The sun is sparse. So your time and your energy and where you place it is of the utmost importance. And this is not about productivity for productivity's sake. Let me underline, bold, and italicize that. It's just about being intentional with your time because as he puts it, it is the most finite currency we have, and we know that. So that's today's episode. I hope you guys liked it. This is an introduction to our Autumn Reset Energy Bad Bitch series. I'm going to be harnessing the energy of autumn all month. So lock in with me. What are you locking into this season? It can be anything. And we're not waiting until January. So tell me what you're doing now. If we were to pretend that this is our January 1st, even though it's October 2nd, like a real fresh start, what are we doing? Are you vision boarding? Are you mood boarding? Are you daydreaming? Are you journaling? Are you putting your work out there? Are you scheduling one-on-ones? Are you talking to HR about career growth and raises and bonuses? Are you talking to your boss? Are you signing up for new projects? Are you starting that Substack? Are you joining me on TikTok? Are you joining me in the podcast world? Are you going to the gym? You know, are you going to Pilates? What is it? Tell me. I want to know. One thing that I am going to do, I talked about joining Toastmasters. I'm in Toronto next week, so that will have to wait until I return. But that's something I really want to do. I just need to figure out my schedule and figure out, I think I know where I want to go. But if the scheduling doesn't work, I will pick a different group to attend. And I really want to try berries. And it's out of my comfort zone because although I work out and I don't mind fitness classes and all the hoopla that comes with it, I am not much of a runner. I tried during COVID and I've got a little bit of an overpronation for all my runners out there. I have to buy new sneakers and I don't really know how it's going to go because I would run about maybe 3K, which is really nothing. And I would start to feel like this crazy pain through my shin, my ankle, like all the way up. And then sometimes it would start all the way down. Very odd. And I reached out to some runner friends and they were like, the problem with running is that pain could be a million things. So I did a little assessment at the runner's room in South London. They were very helpful. The guy's like, you have overpronation on your left foot, and that's probably why you're feeling the pain. These are the kind of shoes you need to buy, XYZ. But I know Barry's is quite intense because it's half running, half weights. The weights part I'm fine with, but I'm worried about the running part. I also don't really want someone yelling in my face. That's not my type of workout at all. But I want to push myself because everyone I know that does Barry's seems to really like it. I don't mind a cult adjacent workout. You know, I'm still ride or dying with SoulCycle in 2025. So I'm okay with that. If you've done Barry's and you have any feedback at all, please let me know because I am really considering it. So that's me pushing myself out of my comfort zone. And also Substack. I've been kind of neglecting the Sage Shorty Substack because frankly, your girl is spent. We have a lot of platforms here. I've got all my individual platforms. Then I also have Sage's platforms and one person, which is me. So I'm trying to navigate everything, but I want to invest in the Substack. And that is something that I'm going to commit to by the end of the month, actually. So if you're on Substack, follow us. You can find us at the Sage Sorority. My links are always in Sage's Instagram bio and TikTok bio, in addition to my own. So the links are always available. It's also linked in the show notes always. So you can find us there. So yeah, those are the things that I'm trying to lock in with to finish my year strong. And I need to get over my personal resistance with throwing an event for Sage Sorority. I just need to get over myself and my fear. That's what I'm saying, guys. Like when I say I'm doing all this stuff with you, like I'm in the trenches with you, I truly, truly mean that. It is not cap. So let me know how you're going to lock the fuck in this season, girl, because like I said, Christmas is around the corner. Autumn energy is about focus, intimacy, momentum, and renewal. It is a very chic time of the year, dare I say the chicest time of the year, and a much better time to reset than in January. So join me all month. We are locking the fuck in so we can finish the year on high. This is your real new year. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. As per usual, you know where to find me on socials. If you liked this episode, share it to your Instagram stories and tag me. I love to see the reposts. It gives me so much joy. And if you want to, leave us a cheeky 5-star review because you know I'm a 5-star chick. And as per usual, I will see you same place, same time next Thursday. I love you guys. Have a beautiful week and a beautiful weekend. Bye.